Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the NDIS Circle. I'm Dan McCutcheon. This is the podcast where we bring together the voices and experiences shaping disability support. Today, I'm honoured to have Bhuwan Khadka with us. Bhuwan is a dedicated professional in the disability sector with a wealth of experience, including as an LAC, a local area coordinator. He's now the founder of CST Academy, a training organisation empowering NDIS and aged care professionals, as well as Supports in Sync, which is an aged care and NDIS service provider. Providing high-intensity support with a focus on psychosocial, disability and mental health. Bhuwan's work centres on providing comprehensive and practical training to bridge cultural and linguistic gaps, although it's for the whole community. And in this episode, we'll delve into the importance of training and the impact of upcoming regulatory changes on NDIS providers, which are a changing space that we're all trying to keep up with, and CST Academy's mission. Bhuwan, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on for a chat.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. I'm really pleased to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. Yeah, really keen to get into the training aspect of things. I think that's something that's underappreciated. It's not really provided from the NDIA, from the NDIS Commission. It's really over to the marketplace to sort of invest, isn't it? It's an upfront cost. So really keen to delve into what CST does and how it can benefit organisations and how that upfront investment can really pay dividends. So yeah, maybe for one, as a bit of a start, can you share a little bit about your background, your career, what sort of led you to work in the disability sector?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Dan. As you can see, I'm an immigrant. I'm from a Cal background. I was born in Nepal. I came to Australia in 2008 on a student visa. I studied Diploma of Community Services. But even though back home, I always loved teaching. I used to start teaching when I was in grade 8. I was 16 or 17 years old. So I always loved teaching. And then I started work as a support worker from 2009, nearly for 10 years. I worked as a support worker in both aged care and disability. And when the LAC rolled out in WA in 2019, that's when I got the opportunity, and I get to learn about the NDIS inside out. We had our first 3 weeks of training, very intense training, straight away 9 to 5 in 15 days. That's when I learned all about NDIS and worked as one of the very initial LACs under Mission Australia here in Perth. And from there, I wanted to know a bit more about the service provider aspect. So I joined a company where I worked as a NDIS coordinator, support coordinator. So I started support coordination kind of myself because the company didn't know anything about NDIS, so I was the NDIS expert, let's say, supposed to be. So I started support coordination from scratch myself. And then I could see easily, and when I left that company and I started my own Supports in Sync, which is a registered NDIS provider, all I wanted to do was support coordination and training because I wanted to share the knowledge that I had gained as a LAC, as a support coordinator, my experience to others. And there were not many face-to-face trainings available. There were many trainings, there are big, very, very highly reputable organizations who provide training, but online, and also those trainers where they had decades of experience, but not the current one. So they were not working as a support coordinator while I was. So then I started, especially same under the name of Supports in Sync, I started training as support coordination level 2. That's how it started. And then as we grew, Supports in Sync expanded its services and it became a bit of a core provider as well. And one of my mentor, he said that, Bhuwan, if you really want to take your training to the next level, you need to separate it because otherwise people get confused. Just from this year, July 1st, we took the training out of Supports in Sync and branded as a CST Academy, which stands for Care and Support Training. And then since then we have added lots of more courses, and so it's running as an independent training organization now.
Yeah, awesome. I think that speaks to being clear in the message that you're giving to participants and other providers, isn't it? Like, what do you do? I think sometimes that's like a mistake I see. It's not sort of niching down or being clear in your branding and your marketing and your messaging about what do you actually do. People get confused when you're sort of trying to do everything, but maybe not, being fully invested and doing everything well. Whereas if you really concentrate on what you do and do that well, there'll always be demand for it. Awesome. So that's sort of your journey from working for others, other organizations, and then starting your own thing. What have been some of the best parts of being a business owner and maybe some of the pitfalls and the challenges?
I never wanted to start a business, to be honest. Even at the uni, I wrote a whole essay that I will never start a business in 2,000 words. And, I passed the exam. And here I am having 2 businesses. I think the idea was when I worked for one of the company, I had I would not say a bad manager. He was really good with business. Perfect. He can create skills of business development, but he didn't have a people skill. So It was a very bad experience for me. And then I thought, you don't have to be, mean to your staff to run a business. So again, even from that kind of inspiration, I wanted to prove to him that you can run a business and be, be a good manager or be someone as a team worker. So that's how we started. I think I really love it now. So in support sensing, we have a team of around 40 people altogether. In CST Academy, we have one virtual assistant, and means we have got two other employees, so three of us. In a way, it really gives me flexibility. I work from anytime, anywhere. And now I'm just thinking is like, it has given me that flexibility and work. And also the thing that I'm proud of that from my training or my businesses, I'm able to support people, support clients, and also support my team members, because they rely on this job. And even for their sake, I have to keep moving forward and keep the business alive because they are working on it, so they rely on business. So I'm really loving it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's such a good thread to pull there. I think that's a common misconception that the manager or the boss has to be, in want of a better word, an asshole to get things done and to motivate people. Whereas I think it's becoming more well known now that the relationships that you have with your staff and having that trust and having good relationships. You can give people that flexibility, and people want to work harder. In my career, I've always worked harder for bosses that I've had a good relationship with than bosses that I haven't got along with. So yeah, I think that's awesome. That's great inspiration to start your own business, I reckon.
Yeah, thank you, Dan.
Okay, so tell us, what is the importance of training? Why would NDIS providers, what's in it for them to engage with CST, to engage with training, obviously it costs money to invest that money up front. What's the importance of training, particularly in the NDIS?
Yep. Like in terms of this career in 4 years, I have met many providers, and there are really amazing people out there who wants to start a business, and they really want to support their people because they're highly skilled people. But unfortunately, they lack many other things. Let's say, for example, a good registered nurse, a social worker. Currently I'm working with a former LAC and an NDIS participant herself. She's fantastic at what she does. She does support coordination, but she lacks many other administration skills, all those kind of paperwork skills. So that's where I come in. And then as a registered provider myself, I have gone through auditing. I have gone through accounting, legality, insurance, and I have made many mistakes as well, in terms of going there, try different softwares, gone here and there. I have learned zero software all by myself, and I have made a mess out of it.
I was about to say, well done, because I lasted about a month in, and then I was hiring bookkeepers, so I couldn't do it.
Yeah. So what I bring to the providers now is, I don't say that I'm not someone who comes and says, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that. What I come in is like, this is how it is done. I show them how it is done and I work with them. So it's like, imagine, nowadays, how you can hire and you can use an artificial intelligence and come and do your job. I'm kind of similar, but I'm gonna an extra pair of experienced hands that you can hire ad hoc. You are not bounded to me with anything. And also mostly if it's an online meeting, if you are in WA, they can come either. Recently I have been to a client's office and have trained 8 people at the same time, 8 of their staff members, while some clients, they come to my office and then I provide the training. And those who are outside WA, we do the online recording and then do from the Zoom. And then what I do is I record that every session and provide it to them, so that if they have any, let's say, there are many newly registered providers. They come to me and say, Bhuwan, we are very new. I don't know how to use Space. Yes, there is a training video provided by NDIS, but again, as you can see, it's very complex. People don't understand. So we come in, log into their product, their pace, and go through this. Okay, this means this. So very, very practical. We work with their team and record it and give it to them. So literally what I would say is, it's like we work with them together. I'm not giving a sample or something. We work with the real clients of theirs for the privacy region. Obviously, we can't work in my product or my portal, for example. And same thing with it, like Shift Care, I help them how to set up Zero, okay, NDIS registration, audit. So there are many, many things. We work with them side by side and provide the recording where possible. And we even provide that kind of a follow-up help, because one of my clients, he has already called me 2-3 times for the follow-up, which I have provided free of charge because he had the training with me. So very hands-on practical training.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So it's sounding like not only do you provide sort of NDIS specific knowledge training, you're also providing, almost how to run a business
Yes,
training for
definitely.
people as well. So yeah, do you have particular sort of modules, or is it more a business comes to you, you might have an initial discovery or intake meeting, and then you figure out what they need and then you go from there? How does it work?
Yeah. Dan, so I think that's a very good question. I have got two aspects of CST Academy business. One is training and one is operation consultation. That's what I call it. I don't call it mentoring or coaching. I call it NDIS operation consultation. So in training, I have, like, for example, NDIS Foundation and Fundamentals. So you can see that in our website. It's a pre-recorded video. So it has got 3 different modules and 12 questions you have to pass each to get, and you'll get a certificate at the end. And I used to charge that $200 per person, and now I have made it free. So
Wow.
anybody out of nowhere, let's say somebody's, last time there was a gentleman, he worked in Nando's, and he used to be my tenant, and he came to me, and I did my certificate 3 in ACE care. I want to come into this industry. And I said, okay, but obviously you don't know anything about NDIS, right? You haven't worked, it's very new. This is what you need to do. So NDIS Foundation and Fundamentals. Initially, I thought I'll make it free to only the NDIS participants, but it's very hard to track. So made it free, everyone. Every week, somebody is booking right now, and they are doing the free training. So that's one part. And there is another one called Admin Mastery. So means, Dan, like, there are many business people, as I said again, many people, businesses, they're really good at what they do, but they don't even know how to use Outlook. They don't know how to put away messages. They don't know how to use Microsoft Excel. If we give a task in Excel, it takes them long time. So that is another one who anybody can do. A CEO can do that admin skill training. Let's say somebody hired a support worker as admin. They need some training. So that's admin mastery skills there. And another important one we have started is called client management skills. When they got a first inquiry of a new client, they don't know what to do. They get panic. They have got all the documents they have purchased for the NDIS business, but they don't know, okay, which one to use first, which one to next, because it all happens so fast, there is no record of these documents. So that's what we go through one by one. And that's one part, right? And then obviously support coordination as well. So I did my last support coordination training 2 weeks ago. I have recorded it, and now I'll be publishing soon on the online, so that anybody wants to do support coordination, they can go and watch it. And it's not like a pre-recorded, because I already had like 3 people joining me. So it's kind of a real conversation recorded session there. You can have that. And one more I'm bringing, maybe we can talk that later. So it's especially for people who wants to develop their career. So that's the training part. While the other one is, that's when there is no dedicated training or something. It's all ad hoc, business to business. So this is NDIS operation consultation. Like, for example, one is if somebody wants to register an NDIS business, NDIS registration and audit help. So we can work with that one. And if you are a provider already and you are using SwiftCare and Zero, but you don't know how to work it very well, I can help you with that. SwiftCare plus Zero integration. I can also help you with how to use Astalti and SwiftCare. For example, many support coordination business use Astalti. I use the same myself because we still have a psychosocial recovery coaches client. That one also we help. And so there is another one. It's called Proda and Pace Mastery. As I said, this is one of the very big organization here in Perth. They have nearly 195 staff. So they are really big, but they just got their registration. And so they invited me. I went to their office, 2 hours training, and it's a business to business training. So it's like you can bring as many as people you want. Doesn't matter. It's a business to business. There were 80 staff, 2 accountants, HR, 2 directors. Everybody wanted to learn about PACE, and we delivered that. We signed into their PACE and product. All they had to pay was 2 hours of training. That's it. Very simple. So very affordable. And recently, this Thursday, somebody have booked me for 2 hours for SwiftCare and Zero setup. So that's kind of a ad hoc one. Whenever you need, you can book my time, either 2 hours. More hours you book, more affordable it gets, So minimum is 2 hours, like that. So training is one part, and what I'm trying to do in the training is I'm trying to make it more available online, so that, because I know directors, they are so busy, they don't have time to come and sit down for 4 hours in the training room. And then the consultation part, I give them my availability and they can choose whenever they are available, so that we can do that. 2 aspects of training, purely focused on NDIS providers and support workers, or anyone who wants to build a career or a business in NDIS industry.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. Just while you're talking, I was thinking there's probably a lot of practitioners out there that are doing their own admin, their own invoicing. And I was just, imagine, let's delve into an example. Let's say you're a therapist charging, a physio charging $224 an hour, and you're doing 10 hours a week of admin. That's what, $2,200, $2,300.
Yes.
a week for that 10 hours. But if you paid someone, say, $30 an hour, outsource that would be $300 a week. You're probably saving $2,000 a week, which is a huge saving over a year, isn't it? So it's just about being, determining your sort of zone of genius. If you're a physio, should you be doing the invoicing? That's not really your thing. You're best providing the physio, supporting participants, and that other stuff you can sort of outsource. So it's just about setting up the right processes and procedures and getting, building your team around you, isn't it? It's not a one person show. You got to bring in people with different specialties and skills.
Yeah, and when I started business, I did my own payroll, I did my everything. And now after 4 years of business, I came to know I don't want to know everything, because you can't specialize in everything. You just focus on what you are good at, and that's what you do, and you hire other people. And just saying that, have you heard of Care BPO? Is an outsourcing company.
Yeah, I've used them actually.
Yeah? Oh, fantastic. Because, the NDIS Foundation training that online, it started coming from there, because all the new employees of Care BPO, they do NDIS Foundation training from us, so that's what it was particularly designed for people, for admin for Philippines. That's how it initially started. Now I have made more free. Before they used to pay me, but now I've made it free, so Care BPO is in luck in that way. But that's how it started. So, so all the admin of Care BPO do the NDIS Foundation training with us first. And also, one example, there was a company from Melbourne. They have been running business for 3 years, and they use Shift Care, and obviously there's Zero, but they were not using it at full capacity. So every admin, invoicing part, let's say invoicing and payroll, they used to spend nearly whole day, and they spend, I think, 4 hours or 5 hours with me, and that has been reduced to now, I would say, maximum 1 hour. And I think that will go down eventually as they become faster.
That's huge.
So from every one whole day to 1 hour. And there was another, the Nepali business from Sydney. From January 1st, how you claim the group line item changed. Were you aware of that, Dan? Because they changed, because obviously it was not fair to charge same thing to all the participants, so they changed. And they had $28,000 to claim. And there was a funding, client had a funding, they just didn't know how to do it. And we spent nearly 11 hours there. Not only for that particular, we did a lot of things, but they initially booked 2 hours, we did this bit by bit. $28,000 claim. There was another gentleman here in Perth. He called me, said, Bhuwan, somebody recommended me. I have got this invoice. It's killing me. I have been spending days and days, and every time I, that bulk upload. Every time I do it says mistake, something. Right here in the office, he came here in WA. 2 hours, 15 minutes, all sorted, uploaded. And I use his computer, not my computer. We connect to, I have got this monitor, connect his computer. I'm working on there, showing him, okay, you do this. This is how you have to do. We're recording it. Everything done. He was happy as a child, he was so relieved. Oh my God, that's done. So that kind of work we do, trying to help them boost the morality, because it can be, when you're stuck at something, it can be really pain in your business operation, and you can't think straight because that's really bothering you. So I've got a lot of back-end stories, but unfortunately, even people, they don't provide review directly. So, but I do have that kind of happy faces, happy customers in a way where I have supported them to get that, prickle out of their business operation, which has been hurting them for a while.
Yeah. Oh, that must be so rewarding. Just if someone comes to you with that, they're just stuck on something, and you can go, yep, we're all sorted. We can move on now and focus on supporting the people that the business was set up to.
I feel like a doctor, and where the sick people come and you treat them,
Cut out the mole. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fantastic. And what are your thoughts? Obviously, the NDIS, the recent independent NDIS review. There's lots of changes to the NDIS. They developed that in and out list for providers. It almost feels like it's getting harder to keep up with the changes because there's been so many. It's always been a fast-moving space. I feel like in the last few months or the last 6 months, it's even picked up more than that. Are you seeing that? Providers coming to you and say, hey, everyone, I'm really struggling to keep up with the changes. Are there particular changes that you think are going to be more difficult for providers to adapt to? Yeah, where's your head out with everything?
Yeah, that's a good question, Dan. Obviously, when I provide the training, I always tell my clients saying that NDIS is like a revolving door, and not a small one, massive one. As soon as you step out of the one door and you turn back, you don't know which panel you were in, because it has already moved. I think my advice people come and ask me many questions, update here and there. But how I try to do is, obviously, you don't want to learn everything. So if there's a human resource, HR kind of changes, hire a HR who keeps up to date with that. If there's accounting updates or something, hire an accountant or bookkeeper who does that. I think you want to know, especially on your business. Let's say if if you are a support coordination business, you don't need to know what's happening in the core much in that way. For example, I don't do group services, so I really don't need to know what are the changes in group. Just for an example. So first of all, find out what changes affects you first and try to learn them. And if you don't know where to learn, then come to me. I can guide you exactly where to go. If I have the answer, I'll tell you straight away, because I don't call myself NDIS expert. I think nobody's NDIS expert because it's always changing. But what I can support is, if I don't know the answer, I know where to find it. At least I'm confident on that, and I have my networks of people which I use myself every day. In that sense, I can guide them, find the answer, and come back to you. And with these changes, especially this NDIS registration, I mean, I have some mixed reactions to many changes. The positive one is, I think, NDIS registration, because there are some unregistered providers that has given a bit of a bad name to even many other unregistered providers who are in process and waiting to be registered. I really respect unregistered providers who have applied and waiting, but there are many unregistered providers who don't want to be registered, and they're trying to misusing the funding and everything and giving us a bad name to everyone. So I welcome that one. However, recently the NDIS price went up by, I think, 5.07, but the payment, Fair Work Australia raised the pay by 5.67 or something.
You're talking about support workers, yeah.
Support workers, yeah. So that is very disappointing, because the business is already a very tight margin. There is so much back-end work, non-billable hours we have to do, and very less profit margin, and that really puts us back. So it is making us a bit more and more difficult. But again, the more foundation supports are coming, obviously, as you said, it has passed the lower house. It is in the Senate at the moment, passed in the Parliament. Sorry, now in Nepal we call it lower house and upper house.
Right.
That's stuck in my mind. So it has passed from the Parliament, House of Representatives, but it's in the Senate. So we might get a NDIS Act 2025 or 2024 even, we don't know. There's 2 months left in 2024. But regardless, whatever it comes in, how I see it is, you have no choice other than to adapt and adopt the new changes. At the end of the day, it's the government, but hopefully Senate will do the right thing and then make sure that it is viable for businesses like us to sustain. And same thing with the support coordination. There's a big question about removing support coordination, PRC, plan management, and everything. I'm not sure about plan management, because I think it's working very well with many things, and having all the self-managed participants to be registered, it's a bit of a big question, because it depends on how capable or the capacity of the participants as well. All I hope is, whatever the changes they bring, they must consider all the current providers and who are doing amazing work. Because, as you know, with the changes, many businesses have closed down. Support coordination, obviously, price has not gone up in last 5 years. So, and that is very hard as well. And
therapy
it's a bit of a
as well,
feeling.
I think, as well. Standard
Yeah,
therapy.
and therapy as well. Exactly. Because you hire let's say you hire a therapist or a support coordinator back in 2019, their salary has gone up. And then the payment
Super
from
has gone
NDIS
up.
is exactly, Super has gone up.
Operational
It
costs
used
have
to
gone
be
up.
9.5 and now it's 11.5. And yeah, operation costs, the rent increases from the office, everything increases, of course. So really have a mixed feeling. But regardless, whatever that is, again, we have no other choice than to adapt.
That's it. Regardless of how we feel about the changes or whether it's fair or not, if it's happening, it's happening. We have no choice but to try and adapt, don't we? Obviously, we try and have our voice and, put forward our point of view and our experience as providers, but we're ultimately not the decision makers, so we do have to adapt. Yeah, I think, and just the mandatory registration of providers, I think what you're saying is definitely some validity to that. There's some very unscrupulous unregistered providers. There probably are also some unscrupulous registered providers.
Yes,
But I think at last count, I was looking the other day, around sort of very high, around 80% of NDIS providers nationwide are actually unregistered.
Yes.
It's a huge amount. I thought it would have been lower than that. So it's really the minority of NDIS providers that are registered, and there does need to be some greater sort of oversight and safeguarding and consistency and training and adherence to the practice standards. So I think on the whole, even though perhaps it's not a perfect solution, that tiered registration that's been recommended based on sort of risk and size and complexity of the support that you're providing seems like the best of the solutions that I've seen proposed. But what's your thoughts? So I was on the NDIS Commission's website a couple of weeks ago. I think there's 20 organisations that can actually complete the audits. They're the qualified auditing agencies or approved quality auditors, is it? AQA, that actually do the auditing. And, if 80% of NDIS providers nationwide have to get registered, and there's already a wait list for that list of 20 quality audit organisations, How is that going to work? Because there seems to be a big
Yeah,
backlog already.
yeah, I think that's already an oversight of NDIS Commission, because it's not going to be enough. Definitely, it's not going to be enough because, you know, it takes time. To say, like, as a registered provider, it takes a day and a half, or maybe even 2 days. And even after the day and a half audit, you need to spend certain hours, to do the reporting to the NDIS Commission and everything. So having those 20 organizations, I don't know how many staff they will have, and having that 80%, so there are more than 150,000 providers. And if it's the 80% of them are unregistered, so that's how many 80% means
120,000.
120, 20,000. So it's like one provider will have more than 10,000 providers. So it's really not going to be enough, I would say. So NDS commissions. That's why I think the one option what we have is we can speak to our local senators, our senators from wherever you live, and make them issues heard. And also, one thing is, as I said, I welcome that different tiers of registration and everything. I think which is fair enough because if somebody is doing only support coordination, they should not be paying the same amount of money for registration when another organization is doing everything, So it's the future value as well. But they need to put more workforce in the registration approval team as well. And I think they need to open up the auditors to more. So 10 organizations is definitely not going to be enough.
Yeah.
And it will be just extra backlog.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, something needs to be
Because,
done.
sorry, Dan, commissions should not also forget that those 20% of registered providers, they also have audit renewal. We also need to do our audit. It's not like that we got the registration and it's just set in stone. We have to do that as well. So it's 100% of the audit, really.
That's actually a good point. Yeah, we've got our midterm audit in a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
and it is a lot of time, a lot of
Yes.
investment on the part of the organization, and also on the part of the auditors. I've already been speaking to them, and I
Exactly.
haven't even met them yet. So obviously, there's preparation. There's the actual 2-day audit in person, and then there's a follow up. So
Yes.
yeah, lots of work to be done there. At CST, is that a service you offer to providers going through, getting registered for the first time or going through their midterm audit in terms of, doing an internal audit for them, making sure they've got their policies and procedures and their incident management and their feedback and complaints, et cetera, et cetera? Or is that more of a specialized service that's better sits with someone else?
Yeah, no, what I do is I normally specialize in the brand new providers who are doing the registration and audit preparation because those who are, let's say, already a provider and they're going through midterm audit, I have connections with the local auditors here in WA and in the Eastern States. So I connect them someone like I know some auditors who have their own businesses and they specialize in those kind of midterm audit. Because why I do that is it takes a lot of time, so I don't have that time to give that to every organization and go through and spend a few days or something. So if there is a provider have been running for NDIS business for a while and they want to now register, definitely I can help with that part. But if they are already a registered provider and doing the midterm audit, I connect them with someone who is specialized on that. I'm more kind of a new registration.
Yeah, exactly. And does CST support providers in the aged care space as well as the NDIS, or are you mainly focused on the NDIS?
As a training, I mean, support sensing have just started ACE care, and that's one of my goal as well because I'm learning ACE care myself for now. If I want to go and do ACE care training, there's nothing left. There's nothing available, really. So what I'm trying to do is now, because support sensing kind of runs itself at the moment, I'm trying to spend more time in ACE care and in the CST Academy where I can learn a bit more thing, and maybe in the future when somebody wants to start ACE care, then I'll be able to train, I'll provide the training because yeah, there is no training in ACE care at all at the moment. So right now I'm focusing on NDIS only because that's what I know. But I'm learning ACE care and possibly maybe in a year time or at least by 2026, I'll be offering ACE care training as well and supporting providers who wants to be a ACE care provider.
Yeah, well, I guess you're in that unique position of learning all the stuff for the first time, and if you can document that journey
Yeah,
as a new provider, then you know exactly the experience that you need to speak to in the training.
exactly, yeah.
Awesome. And what are your so those are your future goals for CSD and for support instinct? You might diversify a bit into aged care. That you've obviously identified a bit of a market need there for training in the aged care sector, as well as the NDIS. Where do you see the organisations going in the next couple of years?
Yeah, I have been a bit setbacks here and there. I've been trying to find the right website host, kind of because obviously I can't create everything. So my goal is CST Academy to be kind of a one-stop shop for NDIS and care industry training. That's my goal. Obviously, ACE Care is coming in the future. Right now, it's only NDIS. Same thing, I mean, right now, we all know the company called eTrainU. It's just a massive company. It's nearly 20 years old. I think it was established in 2001 or something. A massive company. They provide training in all different aspects and so many. I mean, we are a customer of theirs ourselves. But when I go through there, and I'm not trying to say they are not good or something, they're really good, and that's what we use. Support Sensing, our support workers go there and do the training. And I say like that, I can do much more better at cheaper price. I'm 100% sure I can do that. The content there, I can do better than that, because at the end of the topics are the same. There's no copyright for topics for anyone. That's the future plan that I'm working in. Right now, I'm working very vigorously with Vanessa from Two Brownies. She has been with Support Sensing for a long time.
I've worked with her as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
I currently work with her. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So she's kind of, I say, for the website, she's an NDIS specialist. Anyone listening to podcasts, if you want to redo your website, because many providers, they go overseas because there's cheaper labor cost, but they don't understand NDIS. And Vanessa, she understands NDIS inside out, especially what's the market and everything. So
Yeah.
I'm working with her. Recently found a great host website, a domain that can host our CST Academy. We recently found, and that software specialist in Pakistan who is specialized in that domain host website. So we're going to work with him and starting to create a platform and then add layers and layers and layers. And be that, and again, like for example, I'm just talking about eTrainee or something. So they not only provide in training in care industry, but they do in many other areas as well. But my goal is not to be like that. Pure care and support. That's it. That's all we do. That's what we specialize on. I'm a certified trainer as well. I did my certificate in training and assessment. I'm qualified to provide a training for certificate 3 in individual support plus diploma of community services. And a very long-term goal, I don't know, again, very, just a draft. Would love to have a CST Academy as a registered training provider where we provide first aid, CPR, manual handling, medication training, and then certificate 3 and diploma, or maybe possibly, bachelor's, I don't know. So that's kind of a goal I have. So to be, I want to say a number one or something, because I want to be that top organization, let's say top 5 training provider in Australia in care and support industry. Either it's ACE Care or NDIS, anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. One-stop shop, comprehensive
Yes.
care industry sector. That's where you go for your training. You go to CST. Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm
thank
really
you.
excited for you. To finish up, Bhuwan, do you have any sort of closing advice to NDIS providers on training, compliance, the importance of investing, and always trying to, I guess, continually improve so they can better support NDIS participants and their families?
Yeah. One, again, as you said very initially, sometimes we need to remember that the most valuable is not money, most valuable is time. Time is the most valuable thing. As I said, that organization from last 3 years, they have been spending one whole day to do the payroll. They spend 4 hours with me. And again, I'm a very affordable rate as well compared to many high big, their consultants. So now that 1 week, like 7 hours, let's say 7 hours have been reduced to 1 hour. You are saving 6 hours per week. So it's really, really worth it. And I even teach them free skills, even though nothing to do with, they didn't come to do the Excel training. They are doing the training with PACE. I say, do you know how to do this? Oh, I do this. So they give me the answer where they're going to take 10 minutes to do that. And I do that with 2 clicks.
I need some of that Excel training for one. I need that.
Yeah, thank you. My former boss was really good at Excel. I worked with him very close, so he really taught me a lot of these things. So those kind of things is worth so much of your time. And it's all about skills development. When you know how to do things faster, when your support workers, when your staff know how to do things faster, it's really, really beneficial. One of the support coordination in New South Wales, she has hired a VA in Philippines. So she sent that VA to do the training with me. So she did the admin skills training, a few things training with me, and now she can work better for her company. I would say, and one thing is I provide 15 minutes free consultation to everyone. So if anybody want to contact me, I can send them the link, they can book a time, and we can go through exactly what are the pressure points for the company, and we can customize training. And what I would like to say is, even though I'm not expert at everything, come to me, tell me what's the pressure point. I can customize the training, and if there are things that I don't know, I can bring someone who knows, or I can connect you with someone. It doesn't mean you have to do the business with me. I can guide you through. I know some excellent accountants, bookkeepers, website again, we talked about Vanessa. I've got amazing IT people because I have seen people doing the business from their hard drive. Some people have done from the Google Drive, so it's like I have gone through all these and I can guide you to the right spot, save you lots of time, and that's the most valuable thing. So save your time, do the training, it will reap you benefits later again and again, every day, literally.
Yeah, a small investment up front when you're thinking long term, it's going to pay off. Off in
it's like
the
an
end.
investment in the stock, like when you have a penny stock, you invest. That's what it is.
That's it. Love it. Love the comparison. Bhuwan, thanks so much for coming on. I'm really excited. You saying where you want to take CST and Supports Instinct in the next few years, and you obviously really know your stuff. So yeah, thank you for the support that you provide to providers, because ultimately that gets passed on to participants in families in the form of better service quality is what's most important. So yeah, thanks so much for the conversation today, and we'll see you next week, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Yeah. Thank you, Dan, and I really appreciate this opportunity. And just one last thing I would like to say is any listeners here, if you come to that free consultation, 15 minutes, and after that you want to go ahead, I'm happy to put 10% discount for any training or any courses here. Thanks to Dan for your podcast special. 10% discount to all the listeners.
Love it. Our first discount. Thanks, Bhuwan. That's fantastic.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks. Okay. Bye, everyone. Bye.
All right. Bye.